Welcome back to the Lub Dub Podcast. I am one half of your esteemed host, McFly, joined by my lovely, sexy, intelligent, and spunky wife,
Erica.
I don't know what spunky means.
I was really thrown off by the spunky, but you knew it. You knew it. You weren't here. We're here.
Thanks for joining us again today, guys. We bring you content on relationships to parenting and everything in between. If you are liking our content, please as always hit that subscribe button. Also like and comment and hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when we drop new content. Today we're going to talk about something that was interesting. A friend of ours had asked us, hey, you guys should do a video on relationship deal breakers or maybe even sexual deal breakers. And so we got to thinking, what are some deal breakers? And lo and behold, Denise Bidot or Bidot, I don't know if I'm saying it wrong.
I don't know, but you made it seem so close to bidet just now, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Anyway, the plus size model that Lil Wayne was dating has broken up with him. The reason she gave for breaking up with him is that he was a Trump supporter. I was like, oh, well.
He can't even vote.
He can't vote. He's a felon, which was funny. A lot of the rappers that came on in support of Trump either didn't or couldn't vote. Which we started thinking about, man, is that something to break up over? I mean, obviously, you're not having those political talks when you first meet somebody.
Unless you're us.
Yeah, we did actually have a political talk, like the first.
If go back to our, we'll have it linked.
Our story how we met definitely talked about politics. So interesting. But for those of you who aren't weird like us and didn't talk about politics when you first met somebody, we got to thinking, is this something that is worth to get broken up over? Now, if you didn't know, obviously he did come out in support of Trump, had a really weird picture with him smiling. And I guess she was like, you know what? The drinking, the drug use, and the disrespect of women, all was cool with me.
Stop it. Don't do that. Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
Yeah, I should leave him alone. He's about to go to jail, so he doesn't need this. Anyways, deal breakers. So I'm going to let you start. What are deal? First off, let's talk about the politics for a second. If I voted for he who should not be named, would you have broken up with me? Let's say you weren't married.
Maybe.
Let's say you weren't married. Really? Is that enough?
I mean, well, it's harder because we're married.
Yeah.
It's harder because we're married.
I said if we were a couple, we were just.
If we were dating, yeah, it would be a deal breaker for me.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to elaborate?
This is not a political podcast.
It's not a political podcast.
But that means our values don't align. Our core values do not align. And it's not about being Republican or being a Democrat. It's
although that's what it.
Trump.
I mean,
for me,
yes and no.
For me personally, you asked me my opinion. For me, it's
and by the way, if you voted for Trump, I mean, keep watching. We're not talking about politics, in all honesty. But I do think you're right. Values should align. So if you did vote for Trump, your partner should have probably done the same, just because of the aligned values.
I think of I guess some couples who have been on the opposite side, and the only one I can really think of right now is Maria Shriver and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Are they on the opposite side?
They were, yes. They're the most quintessential couple that clearly on opposite sides.
What about the political
and then
pundit?
He cheated with his.
Isn't Kellyanne Conway?
No, they're both Republican. The dude just don't like Trump.
Okay.
Husband just doesn't like Trump.
Well, outside of, I think political values are a fair one. Are there any other deal breakers for you outside of politics? I mean, religion is one for me. Again, same concept, shared values. Like when we spoke, and again, I think because I was at a point where I had got out of a bad breakup.
Did I hear rebound? I
wouldn't say you were a rebound per se, because I smashed plenty of chicks before we got together.
Really?
Just tell me the truth. Anyways, the point is, I think because I came from a situation where I was like, all right, I know what I want and I don't want. We had a lot of those conversations early on. because I realized for me, speaking of deal breakers, religion. The person who I dated previously was into voodoo.
It's voodoo.
I don't care what it's pronounced as. And before anyone was like, no, there's no way this is dead serious. Voodoo practicing person. And I realized, we can have a debate over Catholic and Baptist or Lutheran. Like there's some variations we can kind of come to an agreement on, but if you're into voodoo, it's all or nothing really.
So they just have to be Christian. They just can't.
I think
to be any sect of Christian.
I think when it comes to religion, obviously we're both Christian. I think you're Episcopalian and I don't know, whatever. I'm Christian.
Well, you clearly don't care about your sect that much.
I mean, well, I was different sects growing up. I was Lutheran, then I was Baptist, and now I'm kind of like whoever has a good word that's not full of shit. Just keep it a buck. Anyways, that's one deal breaker for me. Those two. What else is a deal breaker for you?
I think deal breaker for me would be someone who's very close-minded. There's a couple of aspects. So one, like traveling, because I like to explore and I like to be adventurous.
She likes to be too adventurous.
Yes.
This one's not gonna just hang on the beach. No, we gotta go do things and explore. I'm like,
so because what's the point of going to another country if you can't experience the actual country?
The beach is the country.
No, that's not how that works. The beach are literally the edges.
I didn't know, man. That's what I'm here for.
Beaches are literally the edges.
That's the best part. Best part of the brownie, the edge.
I like to experience the food and I like to experience the people. That's just me.
I don't think, but I think that's not closed-minded if you don't.
Yes, there's some people who will not leave the United States of America, and I've heard people who've had relationships with others who will not.
I think some people just don't like to travel.
But that's what I'm saying. That's a deal breaker. You gotta be open-minded in that sense for me.
Anything else? Well, look, let's get to the X-rated side. Any sexual deal breakers for you?
You also gotta be open.
I'll tell you right now.
I don't.
You have anything to say?
I don't want to get too detailed on it. This is, we gotta be G-rated in here. Gotta be G. Well, no, PG. PG? PG. We gotta be PG rated in here.
I mean, you can have basic stuff like, you can't cheat. That could be one. That's a deal breaker. Open-minded is one thing, but I don't need to be too adventurous either. Just keep it.
I just think that, let's say if I'm interested in something, that other person should be willing to discuss it with me, and we can traverse those journeys together.
One thing I've heard of
that much.
One thing I've heard of, and this has been a thing. I mean, we talked about it with the Deval and Kadeem episode. Frequency. Maybe there's a certain libido that needs to be met, and
I don't know if that's a deal breaker for me though.
Not for you, but I'm saying I think it is a deal breaker for some people. I've heard of people saying, we don't have it enough, and that's why I cheat or whatever. Here's a really good one. What about the ability to have kids?
I don't think that's a deal breaker for me because there's just so much that we can do.
No, but again, something that I've heard a lot of people struggle with in terms of,
more for men or more for women.
More so men with women that can't conceive. That I've heard. I haven't heard many women being upset about it, but again, I'm sure they're out there, and if you guys are out there, drop a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. But when I've seen a lot of men, some men even justify cheating because they love the person they're with, but they just can't conceive with them, and they have issues conceiving or whatnot. Obviously, every woman's not given that opportunity, and so men feel kind of trapped, or and then maybe a deal breaker. I'm just saying.
That's difficult.
I agree.
Well,
it's hard to just.
That's real difficult. If she just can't, not that she doesn't want to have kids.
She just can't. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, I feel like that's I don't want to say dick move, but it's a dick move.
I feel like the one thing about deal breakers is that you have to be fair to people, right? Yeah. Your deal breaker is your deal breaker. It's not like it's a bad thing or good thing. It's just what you prefer. I think that's fair.
I think, deal breaker. To me, a deal breaker is if you don't want to have kids. That's different. If my body physically can't, that's something different, in my opinion, than me not wanting to. Which is why Jeannie Mai and her ex-husband had a lot of issues because she never wanted kids. She said that going in, and over time he was like, "I want a baby," and literally like the year after they broke up, she had a baby.
She had a baby?
He had a baby with somebody else, with actually a person in their friend circle. Shady. Anyway, I think if you don't want to have kids
are tough. Oh, another deal breaker: money. I've seen mostly stupid ass rapper people, but they've said some pretty interesting things about I won't date somebody unless they give me a Birkin, or unless they have X amount of money, or they can't pay bills. So a deal breaker being, hey, money.
That's a deal breaker for me.
In what sense?
In the sense that...
Oh, wait. What do you mean it's a deal breaker for you?
It's a deal breaker for me in the sense of if you're not willing to actually create your own, to generate your own income. That's a deal breaker.
Unwilling to work. So if I worked as a janitor,
I'm not saying if you worked as a janitor, you're still working.
Okay, I was making sure there's like a level to that or something, a minimum requirement.
A minimum requirement.
Yes.
Am I living in a home? Am I hungry?
No. Is there a minimum requirement?
As long as the needs of the household are being met.
What are the needs of the house? That's very vague.
That's very
very
it is what it is. If the needs of the household are being met.
What does that mean?
Meaning my mortgage is paid, my
food
don't
own
is in
nothing. We renting.
Okay, my rent's paid.
Barely.
So you're saying we live in check to check?
No, yeah.
Not even check to check, half a check?
Check to check. We need every bit of this check until the next check comes. But all the bills are paid. But we're not eating steak and lobster. It's a ramen noodle night once in a while.
And I'm making substantially more than you?
Nah, we aren't even going to that. We just talking about what I made.
And if you were paying for everything and it was just like check
together we're check to check.
No.
Just like the rapper girls.
That's not a deal breaker, I said.
Oh, it's not? I thought you said that. Okay. Well, I apologize. I was ready.
I said no. Like, obviously, I said no. But what I'm saying, like, if you are one of those... Oh, okay. I'm going to bring it to Insecure real quick. If you're Lawrence...
We don't know if they understand these references.
They watch it. If you're Lawrence from the beginning of that, in the beginning part of that season,
the first guy, I don't know. Watch the show.
If you know what I'm talking about, guys. If you're Lawrence for like that first season where you just like wasn't getting it together, that's where it comes in as the deal breaker to me. You have to have some ambition. You have to have something about yourself.
And do you agree that both sides should have that? Because I've seen more and more that women feel like they don't have to, but men do.
I don't agree with that. Not saying that women should be working. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they should have their own goals and their own ambitions.
So they can not work and that's fine?
If that's a decision that was made for the household. Because childcare is a beast.
Yeah, if you can't make what childcare makes.
If it literally makes you make less, in essence, actually working, then it doesn't make sense.
If the net is less overall, then
it doesn't make sense. Yeah. And in some cases, that is the case.
Especially around these parts. My goodness.
Dude.
New York area childcare is
my gosh. The ones that stick out in my mind were like 2,400 a month.
Going rate.
And I'm like, some people make that. Like, that is their salary.
A lot of people make that.
Like, that is their salary. Like,
So.
how are you expecting people to pay for this?
Yeah.
In that case, stay home with your kid. Just stay home. Or guy could stay home too. Like, why is it always we bring up women staying home?
It was feasible, I'd stay home. I'm not against it. 21st century man, I'm not against it. I'd be the best 2K player ever.
See, open mind.
I just like video games and hang out with my daughters. So that's cool with me. We're a team. Yay, team.
I feel like you're low-key lying on that one, but...
Oh, nah, no lie at all. No lies. No lies at all. Why would I lie? I'm an open book, man. Open book. McFly is an open book. Guys and gals, before you get into a relationship, know your deal breakers. And be open to find out that you may realize you have more than you thought. I know before my last relationship, I didn't have the deal breakers that I have now. Now I know myself a bit more, and I think it was kind of good to go through a bad breakup because you realize, oh man, I'm not putting up with this shit ever again. I just know I'm not putting up with this shit. So it's important to know your deal breakers 100% because the better you know yourself, the better you know what you're going to put up with, the better relationship you'll find yourself in. Don't feel bad to just say, listen, I need XYZ affection at, XYZ rate, right? If you know I need to be hugged and cuddled every single day, make it a deal breaker. You cannot change. You cannot take that advice because you were cool with this. She's a cuddler. She's a stage 5 cuddler, and I am a stage 0 cuddler.
Yet his love language is physical touch. Tell me the lies.
I like very strategic and brief physical touch. Not just sex, guys. Get your mind on the gutter. But I mean just like, hey, babe, love you. I'm good for the week. That's it. But it's important I have that. Either way, don't laugh. All right? This is serious business. All right? Anyways, it's important to know your deal breakers because if you don't know them, you're going to be with somebody who's not good for you. I talk to people all the time, and we have several people that I guess we counsel, friends and some family look at us and say, oh, you guys can be happy. What do you do? I think you would agree. We run into a lot of people who do the same thing over and over again, even though they hate it, right? If you don't have the ability or the desire to build up, as Erica calls, a Home Depot, don't keep finding Home Depots. Home Depots are those fixer-upper people who, oh man, they have such potential. They got good bones. With a little bit of paint, a little bit of elbow grease, put some new flooring in here. It's going to be a great house. If you ain't got contractors on deck, if you ain't got the capital, if you don't have the patience, don't buy a fixer-upper. You need something moving ready. If you are a moving ready buyer, buy a moving ready house. Don't buy a fixer-upper, but you ain't good with a hammer.
I think it's a misconception, though. You can't be a fixer-upper for a person. Like, that's just not a thing.
That's true. That's also true too. I mean, I'm yes. Buy what is best for you in terms of that, or be with what's best for you. But yes, you're right.
Deal breaker for me. You eat well done steak.
Like dead ass facts.
Do you eat well done steak? Deal breaker. Automatic deal
Anybody
breaker.
eating well done steak, man, put it in the comments below. Yeah, I know we're big steak fans. If your steak is anything more than medium well, you eating a burger. And what are we doing? Don't do that, guys. Well done steak. Oh,
Deal breaker, right?
it's a deal breaker.
And if you're not willing to, you just inch up some. Just, get to a nice medium.
I would say
if you're not,
expand your palate. I think too many folks, especially black folks, love eating the same old. Expand your palate.
Education.
That's another good deal breaker.
I don't want to seem like an elitist.
You have to value it in the same sense. You don't have to have the same level, but you should value it at the same level. You should value it and see the value, even if you don't go to college. Like for me, I would want you to at least value what a college degree means, and that's something else that like people I've dated in the past, they were in college but didn't see the value of it. You have to see the value of it, because if you don't, you won't understand why I'm doing it or why I did it. So
I mean, I don't think it necessarily has to be specifically college.
No.
But continuing education is important.
It has its values. So you got to be there.
Deal breakers for me. Almost. You can't fix stuff.
I can fix stuff. I just don't choose to fix stuff. And that's the difference. You got anything else you want to say?
Would you be willing to date somebody with a record? Like felonies?
Yeah.
Not misdemeanors, felonies. Yeah. Blue collar crime or?
It all depends.
Or white collar. I know
it all depends. It all depends on the scenario. It's not like a one size fits all. It all depends on the scenario. But our system gives you quote unquote second chance at freedom. I'm not gonna be like, oh man, you're awful and whatever. I would say it's unlikely we would be aligned on all the other things. It's unlikely, but not impossible. I wouldn't be against it. Especially with the inequalities in the justice system. You may have a felony charge, and it may be because wrong place, wrong time, bad lawyer. Like it's 100 things that could go wrong that lead you to that scenario. I'm not going to just write you off because it says felony and now you're a bad person.
So it depends on the felony.
It depends on the scenario. It depends on a lot of things. And it depends on
the felony.
Not necessarily. It depends on
murder.
It depends on what happened. It depends on on how we align on other things.
Premeditated murder.
It's like I said, it's dependent upon the specific scenario.
While we're still in quarantine, do some self-reflection and determine your deal breakers for when you can actually go back out into the world.
Because you shouldn't be out dating right now.
I guess love. You can be internet dating. But don't invite them over. They may have COVID.
Something's wrong with you. Be safe. Find out your deal breakers. And don't be like Lil Wayne and Denise, right? Know the deal breakers before you get involved with somebody. Because him voting for Trump shouldn't have surprised her. She should have known what he was about off rip. And because she didn't, it's kind of like, you're not talking enough. I think that's something that a lot of couples make the mistake of. Talk a lot. Realize anyone that you're dating, especially when you get into your mid to late 20s and beyond, anyone you're dating could potentially be the one.
If you can't be on the phone for hours till the sunrise, just like when you were in your teens, remember those times? So we're great, right?
Hours until the sunrise is a lot, but you should have plenty.
Mean? We totally did.
But you should have plenty to talk about. You should have plenty to talk about. And if you're not talking a lot in the beginning, consider why you're even in a relationship together. Reconsider what you're doing if you don't have a lot to talk about. Because if you're just meeting somebody, you have to take it as this could be a lifetime thing. It could be. Guys, I was 23 when I met her. I didn't want a wife at 23. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. I was like, nah, I'm doing me. I just said before I met her, I was smashing all these little short. I was good. And I was like, I'm good. It happens.
No, just say you were in multiple relationships.
I wasn't in multiple relationships. I was smashing mad chicks. I wasn't in multiple. Listen. I was. They're doing not objects. I was having sex with multiple women. Does that sound better to you? I was. Is what I was doing. But lo and behold, God was like, stopping this shit right now. Happens. And it was. I chose it. It wasn't like I felt pressure or anything like that. There was no pressure. No pressure at all. I just chose it. But I say that to say it may happen. So if you're out here dating or getting to know somebody, find your deal breakers, because the faster and the earlier you figure out what you want or what you don't want, the less time you waste with somebody that maybe isn't a good fit for you long term.
And that's that on that.
And that's that on that.
Yes, and that's that on that. Well, thank you for joining us this week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think down there. Go ahead. Type some things.
And as always, guys, click that notification bell so you're the first to know when we drop new content.
Let us know what you want to see next.
Yeah, we're running out of ideas already, so let us know. Be helpful. Nah, we're good. We got you guys next week. No worries. Until next time, later.
Bye.